Welcome back, folks. This is a tutorial on how to set up and use the Casio WS-1600H. We'll go through how to set up the date and time, how to use the stopwatch, the preset timer, the countdown timer, world time, the alarm and the backlight. If you want to skip straight to any of these sections, I will leave timestamps in the description. For the sake of brevity, the buttons will be labelled as A, B, C and D, and we will start each section from the timekeeping screen. To get to the timekeeping screen, press button C until you hear the highest pitched tone. We'll begin by changing the date and time and home city. The time is currently 2:30 in the afternoon on the 25th of July, so that's what we'll set it to. To adjust, hold down button A until the watch beeps. The first thing to adjust is the seconds. Pressing button D will round the seconds to 0. If you round the seconds to 0 at 30 seconds or after, the watch will add an extra minute to the time. I'm going to leave the seconds as they are and press button C to set the daylight saving time indicator. The DST indicator can be toggled on and off with button D. As it's summer at time of recording and the country where I live observes daylight saving time, I'll set it to on. Then press C to set your home city. Your home city has to be correct, as this is what the watch uses to calculate the time for the other cities. Use button D to move east and B to move west. I have it set for London, so now press C to set the hour. Button D moves it up by 1 hour and B decreases the time by 1 hour. Press C to change the minutes. B increases the minutes and use D to decrease. Press C again to set the year. Button D increases by 1 year and B decreases the year. Next, set the month by pressing C. B decreases the month and D increases the month. Finally, press C again to set the day of month. Use D to increase and B to decrease. There's no need to set the day of week as the watch will calculate it, and this accounts for leap years as well, so press A to exit. And the watch has calculated that today is Tuesday. When you're back in the timekeeping screen, you can use button D to switch between 12-hour and 24-hour format display. Now that the watch has been set up with the correct time and date, let's move on to the stopwatch function. To access the stopwatch, press button C from the home screen. Now the stopwatch on this model works differently to other stopwatches that you're used to. But before I demonstrate that, let me quickly demonstrate a traditional stopwatch on my W86, one of the most accurate watches that I have. You press the start button at the beginning of the race, and when first place comes in, press the split time button to record the time. Then press the stop button when the second place finishes and press the split time button to show you the recorded time. So traditional stopwatches are geared towards timing races, but the stopwatch on the WS-1600H is geared towards timing sporting events. Now getting back to the WS-1600H, the stopwatch actually has two timers. The top timer is the stopwatch itself and the bottom timer shows the elapsed time. You can start and stop the stopwatch, but you can't stop the elapsed time. Let me demonstrate. When you start the stopwatch, both are showing the same elapsed time, but when you stop it, the stopwatch timer pauses and the elapsed timer continues counting. When I press button D again, the stopwatch resumes. Then press D to stop the stopwatch timer and A to reset it back to 0. So you're probably wondering how this can be useful. Well, the stopwatch is most useful when used in conjunction with the target timer. If you were the referee of a soccer match and you needed to time 45 minutes for each half of the game, plus work out how much extra time to add on for stoppages, this is how you would do it. In the stopwatch mode, hold down button A until the target indicator flashes. Then use buttons B and D to set the time to 45 minutes. Press button A to exit and D to start. When the elapsed timer reaches 45 minutes, an alarm will signal to signify the end of the first half, and you can start and stop during the match to take account of any stoppage time. When the 45 minutes is reached, the display would look something like this. You can subtract the stopwatch time from the 45 minutes to work out how much extra time you need to add on for stoppages, which in this case would be 5 minutes. So that's the stopwatch feature. It does differ from traditional stopwatches as the WS-1600H is aimed at referees. Next we'll look at the preset timer. Access the preset countdown timer by pressing button C twice from the home screen. Use A to scroll through 9 built-in preset countdown times. You can also select Auto Repeat, which automatically restarts from the time you selected when 0 is reached by holding down button A. And the symbol shows that Auto Repeat is turned on. Press D to start the countdown. I chose the 12-minute countdown as an example, and an alarm will sound when 0 is reached. You can also use button D to pause and continue the countdown. And button A will reset it back to the beginning. Next we will look at the interval timer. Access the interval timer by pressing C 3 times from the timekeeping screen. This watch comes with 9 interval times which you can set to countdown ranging from 59 minutes and 55 seconds to a minimum start time of 5 seconds. You can choose to set one of the interval times or up to all 9 of them. The countdown times can run just once, or you can set it to repeat. The best way to show you how it works is to set it up and show it running. To keep it short, I will set up interval timers 1, 2 and 3 to count down for 5 seconds each. To set interval 1, hold down A until you hear the beep. Press C to set the minutes and use B and D to adjust. We're not going to set the minutes as we're only going to count down for 5 seconds, so press C again to adjust the seconds. Use B and D to adjust the seconds. B decreases and D increases in 5 seconds intervals. Once set, press C to adjust auto repeat. This can be adjusted with button D. The right pointing arrow means that auto repeat is off and the oblong pointing arrow means auto repeat is on. We're going to leave auto repeat as off, then press C again. So that's interval timer 1 all set. Now press D to move on to interval timer 2. Repeat the same steps as interval timer 1 to adjust timers 2 and 3. Once timer 3 has been set, press A to escape. Use button D to run the timer. Once you set it running, an alarm will sound once each interval timer is finished. So that's the interval timer explained. Next we'll move on to the world time feature. To access the world time feature, press C 4 times from the timekeeping screen. The screen will show you the current time in the last city which you viewed, which in this instance was Hong Kong, whilst also showing the current time in your home city on the top screen. City names are abbreviated to 3 letters, which can sometimes be hard to figure out, so here's a printout of the city codes. Pause the screen if you want to read it. You may have to adjust for the daylight saving time in the city that you're looking at. At the moment, the watch is showing 9:34 in the evening in Hong Kong, whereas the actual time is 8:34 in the evening. To fix this, hold down A to turn DST off. And now it's showing the correct time in Hong Kong. To view the times in the 48 different cities built into the watch, press button D and this scrolls east across the world. Unfortunately, you can't move west, so you will have to keep pressing D if you miss the city that you were looking for. One thing to watch out for is if you leave your watch in the world time mode and you're abroad is when you're using the alarm. Setting the alarm will use your home time as the basis for the alarm and not the city that you're visiting. To fix this, you need to make the city that you're in as your home city. This is much easier to do on the LF20W, which in my opinion is a better travel watch. Check out my review on that if you want to know more about that watch. Next, we'll look at how you set the alarm. Access the alarm by pressing C 5 times from the home screen. Press button A to start setting the alarm, and this automatically sets it to on as shown by the alarm symbol. Use buttons B and D to set the hour. Then press C to move on to the minutes, which are also set with buttons B and D. Press A to escape back to the alarm home screen. Here you can also use button D to turn on the hourly signal. Use any button to turn off the alarm sound. The backlight is turned on with button B. It has a fixed duration of about 1.5 seconds. There is no auto illumination as the module doesn't contain a tilt sensor. It is though good enough to light up the whole screen as there is an LED at each corner of the bottom of the display. The last thing I want to show you is how to turn off the button tone sounds. If you don't like the beep sound that you hear every time the button is pressed, you can turn it off by holding down button C. When it's turned off, this symbol will appear on the screen. To turn the tones back on, hold down button C again until the symbol disappears. Thanks for watching. I hope that this video helps you out, and I'll catch you in the next video.